Big up, big up, big up, and welcome to everyone joining us today. Whether you're watching this on the replay or whether you're watching us live, always pleasure to have you here. We are going to be talking about the game. We're going to be talking about some of the news from that's going on, some of the speculation that's still going on with that same news. So I brought along with us today the Irishman, and I also brought along Lee, and we're going to have some other guests joining us here pretty soon. I got to get the links out to them, but I will be getting them out to them right now. And yeah, big up to those joining us in the chat. Big up to LVFC TV. That's Baz. Big up to Ethan's Gamers. Definitely the guy in NJ. Big up, big up. Bonkers. Big up. And Red for Life. Big up to you. You guys are good to go. No contract talk with you. Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about that, Bonkers. We'll talk about that today. How you guys doing today? Irishman, how are you doing?
Very well, yeah. How are you?
Good, good, good. How are you doing, Lee?
Significantly better after we put 4 past Sevilla.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
That Europa League final, it started with such promise with Daniel Sturridge's lovely outside of the foot curler. And then they dismantled us basically after that. They taught us a lesson after that, didn't they? They spanked us and went on your way. But we did get our revenge in the Champions League the year we first got to the final, didn't we? We gave them a tannin for that, like. But yeah, I'm pleased anyway. 4 goals. Who can quibble with 4 goals?
Shout out to Quasi. I just got done helping with one of our fellow Reds on his channel. Always a pleasure to be on his channel. Always a pleasure to help a Red. I just look at it as like, you know, if we all do. Brian was talking about hands across America, I think, or hands across the world, or something like that. You know, I think if we all do our part in helping each other as Reds, I think we all will see a better life, a better community, a better world for all of us. So, big up to Quasi and the crew. Yeah, great game today. I don't know if maybe Brian might have been a little bit triggered by the thumbnail for today, but I don't know. I shouldn't put words in his mouth. But
for once.
But I thought, yeah, it was a great game. Lucho played phenomenal. Trey Neone, wow, we've got a really great talent on our hands in Trey Neone. I'm excited to see how that continues to develop and push on. Trent is back. TAA is back, playing his RB position and doing it well, you know. And oh man, Diego just being Diego today. Some great goals. The second game didn't see any goals scored, but you know, I personally think that Las Palmas is a little bit of a better team than Sevilla, so that's maybe why you saw a little bit of and the squad that was brought out wasn't exactly, you know, it wasn't the projected starters squad per se, but I still thought that, you know, we saw some positives, some things that we can constructively criticize and critique. But did you guys see the game today, or did you guys just see highlights, Irishman?
You're saying you think that Las Palmas is better than Sevilla?
I thought that they were today, at least.
They're nowhere near as big a club as Sevilla. I wouldn't say that.
Well, I'm not saying that they're better in this bigger club.
Yeah, but even
I just meant to on.
Are they even in? Yeah, well, yeah, they're in the same division, I think. But yeah, no, they're look. You know how I feel about these games. They're just high end training games.
Yeah.
But you could tell. Like, I mean, obviously there was 1 or 2 that had to start a bit later, but I mean, like it basically told you that's a first team lineup and that's a second team lineup. Like the first game was basically the first team, and the second game was basically the second team. That's really all that I was taking from it. And you know, nice bit of play. nice bit of sunshine, nice, nice to score, nice goals and all that. But you could see it was very much, the early game was the guys who were going to be his starters, other than probably, well, maybe Nunes, Gakpo, Robbo from the second game. So it was very much the A team and the B team.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, no surprise that the B team. Well, I was surprised that there weren't goals in it. I mean, they kind of put it up to him earlier on. I was expecting a few goals, but oh well, I didn't see any of the second game. I saw bits of the first game. I didn't see any of the second game, so I don't know if we played badly or whatever it was. But yeah, the first game was much more enjoyable, I'd imagine, for anybody that paid to go. Well, no, you couldn't go and see the second one, could you? Yeah, maybe because there was no crowd or not much atmosphere.
I think that had an impact. Yeah,
but yeah, again, like I say, the only thing I would take from it is that you can see that he has his idea pretty much who his starters are, and I think Simi really it's kind of his spot to lose at the moment by the looks of it.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
But great to see Naoni coming on and scoring a great goal straight away. I mean, that's love to see it. That's what I like about preseason is the people that you haven't seen play before. Like we all know what Matt can do. We all know what Salah can do. So there's nothing better than seeing a young kid that you don't know coming out, putting in a performance. That's what I like watching.
Yeah. Lee, what were your feelings and thoughts?
Shota's finish was the very definition of a controlled finish, wasn't it? Like it was just superb the way he finished that chance off. Like see it coming over, right, and take this first time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't even hit it that hard. He just hit it really. The direction he got it exactly where he wanted it, and the keeper just wasn't anywhere near it, was he? Didn't even hit it.
Very unusual finish, wasn't it?
It was a very unusual finish. It wasn't really like a strike. It was kind of like he just redirected it almost, He
was kind of falling backwards a little bit, wasn't he? There was something about something you won't see the ball hit that way very often.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was just nice. It was just a nice optics, wasn't it? Like it just looked really nice, that goal, and the rest of the stuff was nice afterwards. Like the theme of niceness continued unabated.
Apart from that kit.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say? The kit. That what you're talking about?
Yeah. MK it was kind of like a half volley, half kind of scissor kick kind of thing. Because it was kind of behind him a little bit, and he had to hit it. He had no other option. He had to kind of.
Let's be honest. I mean, like, I like the fact that Diego. We all agree he's a great finisher. But
touch wood, he can stay fit. Touch wood that guy can stay fit, and we'd be in for a good time, especially if we buy Zubimendi. I reckon we've got so much potential. Like if we can just get it right. This little bit of business that we need to do here in the pre-season. We've got so much potential to have a good season, I think. Yeah. I think that every season, you know what I mean? It's just the way we are as fans, isn't it? You expect a decent season. I think we can have one, no doubt about it. Like,
I think what's great about some of these games, at least with the direction that some of the players have kind of, been anxious or not anxious, appreciative of the opportunity to get some chances to actually, just to get back playing with the team, with their teammates or in the likes. But I just think that what's great about what we've been seeing is that there hasn't been a lot of like, oh, I don't want to play this or I don't want to do that. I don't want to, it was more of like, let's just show me the plan. Let's go in and let's try to like actually orchestrate this plan to the fullest and get some results. And they've been getting it. And I think like anything, even if you're pessimistic, I should say, about a plan, once you actually see it start to work, you buy in more so. And I think a lot of these guys, a lot of youngsters, you didn't have to really push them to buy in. They're just willing to, get in the pitch or get on the pitch whichever way they can. But about some of these players like Mo, like coming back with like it looks like a little bit of like a pep in his step, with Trent, with Virgil, all these players now coming back. They have big decisions weighing behind them with the contracts, but yet it looks like they are committed and devoted to.
You need buy-in.
the buy-in is there.
You always need buy-in because
Yeah.
especially like you were saying, if the boys at the top, if the the leadership group, the big boys, if they don't show like they're buying in, then everybody else won't either very, very quickly. Like if it looks like a couple of the young lads aren't buying in, then the senior boys will step in and say, hang on, you're cop on now. But if it looks, it's like that senior management, new people come in. If the people working under him, they're like, oh, that new guy, he's a fucking Egypt. Well, then the people on the shop floor aren't going to respect them either. So you have to have that. And of course, like you're 100% correct. Like there's nothing does that better than results. There's nothing.
Yes.
You can talk about, oh, we're doing great on the training ground. Oh, the coach, oh, it's lovely. Oh, look, we're not getting results. Don't worry about that. It's great on the training ground. Yeah, whatever. There's nothing like, again, I know they're just the preseasons, but they are still wins and they are still goals.
Still
So
wins.
if it looks like it's working, that's the point you made, which is right. If it looks like it's working and people are going, oh, okay, I see what he's trying to do. And we are scoring goals. We are getting, we're getting good play out of it. Let's see how it works when the real business starts. But I think there will be a lot of confidence already in it, and that's what I was talking about a few weeks ago. Really wanting to hope that everything he got a nice start, not an easy start, not a run, but that the little things that could go his way did go his way at the start, because he was going to need that good run in to get a bit of confidence behind him, a bit of enthusiasm behind him. So, yeah, even just scoring goals, man. Just putting a team out there that looks like it can score goals all the time. That's good. That's a great start.
Yeah. I get what Dar's saying, that the faithful understand that this is preseason, but I mean, like, look, exactly what Brian just said. He said, it's a narrative. You create a narrative, and when you create a narrative with despite it being preseason, when you create that narrative of, hey, this works, or hey, I'm starting to enjoy the game a little bit from this angle. I'm not saying they didn't enjoy it before, just saying from a different angle, maybe. Like I think it really does grow your confidence. It really does build momentum, and even if they are preseason, it does not matter to me. I think more so if you're losing, this as Brian also said, and you're just stuck to saying, no, it's working in training, but it's not working on the pitch, then that maybe that sense of doubt grows within the club or within the individual players. We don't need that, so always getting results, any type of positive type of results always will be a positive for building confidence and building momentum. And I think that's what we're seeing here so far with slot ball, is that as they're calling it.
You'd rather win every preseason game than lose it, wouldn't you?
Right.
I mean, like I know. Look, I'm up there. I don't put any store in them, but it's just looking at things. And I think, just for what Dara's saying, I think, I mean, those of us that we understand it's preseason. Some people do, but I think a lot of the fact there's a lot more focus. What would be just from everywhere, from fans, but this is a new coach, it's a new style, and everybody's paying a lot more attention to see how we're going to play. I think that's why there's a lot more focus on this year's preseason games than before, because like I said, people want to see, oh well, how is he playing, how is he set up, does it look, what does it look like? And it's looked good, and because it's looked good, people are talking positive about it. But yeah, I think there's a lot more focus on this because it's a new guy and everyone wants to see what he's doing.
And I like, and I'll let Lee comment on this too. I was going to say real quick though, I like that. Look, we all should keep a measured, sense of expectations, but I still think that, again, it's always better to talk about wins than to talk about losses, and especially if the team is
on bloody YouTube.
Yeah, that should be. You can clip me up on that if you like, but I think that it's a measure of that. And hey, I don't know if it's the new hairstyles that we're seeing that are creating some of the reborn presences that we're seeing on the pitch, with Lucho and his Frost. He got the Bobby Frost tips or
Yeah,
whatever it
it's
is.
part of the new season, the new hairstyles in it for the players. It's always been a part of the season. See who's got what on top of their head and that, like, see what was
Yeah.
good, what wasn't, and have a talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, like as you said earlier, Salah with the new cut. Trent already did his new cut from the year before that. Like, as in, it's just funny how, like, I'm not sure if they stop it in Quasi's barbershop or not, or who's the new barber for them. But yeah, they're definitely doing their thing.
Not sure they can afford Quasi.
I know Quasi's not. Yeah,
he's high end.
Yeah, Quasi's got a little bit of a high end clientele for sure. High end clientele. Oh man. But big up to everyone joining us once again. Like I said, Trap Joe, Bernie, Bonkers, MK Toe, Jimmy, Red for Life, all those joining us. Big up to all of you guys. Baz in the house, like I said earlier, Ethan, Bonkers. I was going to also get into what Brian just somewhat spoke on, and then we're going to get into some other news as well once we get past some of the reflections from the game. But is Simicast making a real vaunted shout to say that he should get the start over Robbo?
Maybe. Why not? I know.
Okay. All right. Why would you say even maybe?
I don't know, because he hasn't really moved Robbo aside before. It's always when Robbo's like not fit or we need to rest him. But maybe Slot might want to give Simi a chance. Like at the beginning of the season, you just don't know, do you? We just don't know. But on the thing of the pre-season, I mean, 5 wins out of 5, and the fitness exercises, these friendlies. But if we'd have lost all 5 and lost them the scores that we won them, make people be undeniably going cuckoo, wouldn't they, about it? Like, and saying, I knew he was the wrong man, get him out already before the season even started, probably. So, I mean, they do have relevance for a new manager coming in. He needs to win a couple of friendlies when he arrives, a new manager.
Okay.
Brian?
Question. Simicast, yes. Why do I think? Because someone put it up there when the Bajans were doing their watch along. I think one of the lads said, like, so who's the left back, for the season? And it was like Simi. And I said, well, Robbo, if everyone's fit and well. And then I was just kind of said it, just not really thinking. And then I'm looking at it again. I was like, well, he hasn't gotten into because of his injury and because he was out, he only really kind of got back in a bit late. And I think Simi is probably at that stage now where he's going to have to kind of lose his place. Just because again, we talk about a lot of timing. A player gets a knock, a guy comes in, does really well, doesn't deserve to be dropped, so doesn't get dropped, stays in the team. So it just seems like he might get the run. It seems like he's the most up to speed, I suppose. Again, but is it when Robbo is back and he's fit and all is well, I'm sure he's going to be the guy. But maybe at the moment for just because of timing, he could get a run at the start of the season. But like I said, I just instinctively said, well, Robbo. But everyone in their chat seemed to be convinced that he'd taken the place. But remains to be seen.
He's a younger man, isn't he? How much younger than Robbo is Simi?
Not a million years younger, only about 3 years younger.
About 2 or 3. Well, that's after it. Robbo's had a lot of wear and tear on his legs. No way is he finished though. I'm not having that with people saying he's finished. Bollocks. No. Robbo's got a good while left yet, but not all the time. Not as much as we have been playing him under Klopp. I think he needs to play less games now, so we have him for the big games when we need him, when we need to defend properly, because he is a good defender, Robbo, like first and foremost. So. Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a lot more rotation than there used to be. Maybe we'll see more horses for courses kind of thing.
That would do me fine if we have more rotation.
I have asked a question in the chat, guys. In the chat, please do tell me who you guys start. Ipswich Town is fast approaching now. It's not an easy thing to start. Obviously, it's not an easy thing to start on the road, but that's what we will see Liverpool do. And it's not easy to start against a newly promoted team as well, much less at their home during their debut in the Prem. It's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of anticipation to see how it goes for the club. And every club that is in the league is obviously can bring some results, so they're going to be looking to do the same. And my question again is, tell me, I'm going to see how many shouts for Simi. I gave you a third option too. I don't think that's going to happen. We haven't seen Gomez play at left back really, but at least this preseason. But I even gave you the option of if you really want, if you want to throw Gomez into that equation as well, considering his performance from last year. But fully fit, do you start Simi or Robbo? And again, if you want to throw in the curveball of Gomez, you have at it, But the main question is, I would like to see is how the chat is feeling about that. It's looking like Dara said Robbo, of course. Bonker says Simi starts because he had more minutes than Robbo. Bernie says Robbo for her, but alternate every now and then. Okay. Hash says Simi is 100% the starter. Okay. It is a 12:30 kickoff. Doesn't make it easy in my life because that means it's going to be a 4:30 a.m. kickoff for me. So yeah. That's always fun. That's always fun on the weekend I'll probably end up working that night and then just getting home and turning TV on and rocking it that way. If I don't make it down to my supporter pub, if I can, I'll try to. Red for Life says Simi for him. A lot of Simicasses in here. It was Bernie. It was good to see Scanlon come on at the end. A lot of youngsters were part of that second squad. Yeah. A lot of Simicasses, definitely. I didn't think it was going to be that many Simicast shouts. But yeah, Simicast has definitely won over some people in the chat, which is good to see. Good to see. It's just good to see that he's getting rewarded with proper praise by the chat for his good play. That's all I mean by that. But
I'd just be interested to know what they played minutes wise over the time
over the entire preseason.
Because Robbo came back and then he had that injury and then he went away. But I just, because there was no shouts even for Gomez, I could see us playing different. I can see it being a lot more horses for courses on the left hand side. Yeah. And that's why I think I'm with Lee because you could see us today when we were kind of making a back three, not getting too deep in the tactical side of it, but you could see like exactly what Lee is talking about. A guy who is basically a left-sided central defender, that could really just slot in and out of that role, So you can see the obvious need for it there. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if that happens, regardless, because so many people they play in preseason and they're never seen again, or things happen in preseason, they don't happen again. A player comes back. But you could see a real obvious spot for a player like that. It's kind of, you can see people aren't just talking crap and say we need a player in that position, because if you'd imagine us having a Gvardiol or Hincapié type player today, you can see exactly how it would work and where they would fit. So that's one I'd be expecting to happen. And then it could be a whole different story,
Yeah. I think and again, this is why I enjoy just because we have different opinions doesn't mean that you're wrong. It's just a different opinion. But I do disagree about. I know Dara's saying not sure how you can use preseason as a barometer for starting in the Premier League. I think what you can say is that, if you use preseason to see, are you physically fit? Are you comprehending the system? Are you melding in with the system? You know, if you're not, then you're not going to just start a player just because it's that player. That's what we're getting at. That's where at least I'm. That's the interpretation I'm taking from the preseason. Is that I'm saying that, like, as in, if you're really looking like you're adjusted and it's basically you're adjusted to the system, and you're fully taking on what the roles that you're being asked to do, then you should get the start. It's just that simple. I'm not. This isn't some. How often were we talking about last year? Oh, some players, Robbo especially. How there were times when Simicast last year played was in more form, better form than Robbo, but Robbo still got the start. Robbo was healthy, he still got the start. But I mean, like, I'm just trying to. The reason why I'm bringing it up, Dara, and I'm taking a slight at you at all. What I'm just saying is, if given the opportunity, this is what we call fighting for the position. Fighting for the place in the team. You go out, you show, you perform, and you should be rewarded. That's how I look at it. And I'm hoping that this coach isn't going to play favorites. He's going to play, and I don't think he is that kind of coach. But I think that this coach looks at the team, assesses what is going to bring out the best results, and he makes that happen for us.
You can learn some things.
Yeah.
Of course, you can learn some things. Like, I'm the first person to come out and say I don't put any store in the results of them, But, like, let's just say, for example, we had a coach that came in that did a Conte and was playing 3-4-3, and out in a completely new system. Well, you could watch the preseason, you could say, oh well, look, that's the system we're playing, and that's how it's going to work. Like, I wouldn't go as far as say you can learn nothing. You can always learn something from anything, small things, little things. But there's nobody I've met that knows anything about football that's come out and said, look at those 4 results, that means we're going to win the league. Nobody's come even close to saying anything like that. So we're just talking about it. We're trying to find talking points from it and little things to talk about from it. But no one is rubber stamping anything. Like I said, the real business begins at Ipswich, and then we'll see. Because, like, the friendlies, especially at this stage, a lot of people, they don't want to get injured. That's number one. So they're playing around 80% because they don't want to do a hamstring. They don't want to go in for a challenge where they might get hurt. They'll hold back a little bit, which ironically makes it more likely for you to get injured when you're holding back. Because you tense up more. But you can see, they just want to kind of get through these games and put on a nice show. But the manager had so little time. I mean, I heard someone complaining today about how many preseason games we played. It's like, have you looked at how many minutes Salah has played? How many minutes Ali has played in preseason?
Yeah.
Basically nothing. And I said, why are we playing 2 games today? We've already had enough of a preseason. It's like the guy only met some of his first team players last week.
Yeah,
and you're saying we've had enough of a preseason. Yeah, the club has played.
It was necessary.
Games,
Today was necessary.
A lot of players have. Yeah, like the club has played 5 games, but how many?
I mean, even having the double today, I think was necessary.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
That's how big the squad is with players that could contend for roles with the team.
And he needs to get a look at them. I mean, he needs to get a look at them because I mean, literally, I was trying to say, yeah, you can say that the club has played X amount of games, but how many games has our first team played? Basically 0 together. That's not a preseason.
Yeah,
like
it was.
You had a Copa and a Euros and an Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. It was
not a preseason. So he has very, very little room to maneuver there with these guys. So yeah, that doubleheader today was well needed. Get a bit of a look at everybody and then say, right, because he is learning on the fly a little bit, which I think might be to do with the transfers thing being slowed up. So yeah, I think we could name an 11 today for Ipswich and we wouldn't be far off, because I think you saw it today, and I don't think we're going to have anyone come in time maybe to break to be in that team at this stage. I think it's unlikely that we get someone signed up and ready to go and they're starting the Ipswich. I don't know what anyone else thinks on that, but that'd be a quick turnaround. Even if we signed him tomorrow morning,
It is going to be a quick
maybe
turnaround. Yeah,
maybe they
it's
might be
going to be
ready
a
to get
very
into
quick
team.
turnaround. That's the only thing that is a little bit troubling, is that I would have liked to have seen this Zuby, where are you? I would have liked the mystery van to have already shown up and Zuby popped out and joined training, or at least got in a couple of minutes, even with the second squad or the second game. I'm not going to call it the second squad because I don't want to do that disservice, because there's some players that could honestly start on that second in that second game. But yeah,
There are players that will definitely.
yeah. Yeah, speaking of today, so Zuby is still up in the air. The report, obviously, some of the retreaded reports are just the same reports, same things that we've heard time and time again about how Real Sociedad has offered Zuby a new deal. Big up Hyler, by the way. Big up. Good for you to join us. And I don't know if I did say big up to Hash, but big up to Hash if I didn't. Big up. Appreciate you guys joining us.
Yeah, evening, guys.
But Real Sociedad have offered Martin Zubamendi a new deal, but Liverpool's proposal surpasses it financially. So keep that in mind, that we still, even though Real Sociedad are offering him more money, actually offering him to be the highest paid player on their team, we are still our financial deal that we've offered him is still very competitive. Liverpool persists in seeking Zubamendi, obviously, but Real Sociedad are doing everything. This is the report, at least, that is what they're saying, is that Real Sociedad are doing everything they can to keep him. Statistically, Zubamendi excels in passing and tackling, which is something that we are looking to add to this team, especially in the role of the six. There was
Hi, Marianne.
Yes, hi. One of our Reds Queens in the house, definitely. Joining another Reds Queen in the house, Bernie. Big up. So, yeah, Romano reported a update on the Zubamendi situation, and that's Fabrizio Romano. He was on the Men in Blazers podcast. He went on to say this quote. He says, "Yes, Liverpool will insist in the next hours for Martin Zubamendi. Liverpool present their project. They've been informed that Real Sociedad spoke to the player and to his agent to present a new contract proposal. So Real Sociedad are fighting to keep the player at the club. But it's important to say that the financial proposal from Real Sociedad is nowhere near what Liverpool are offering to Martin Zubamendi. Then it's not just about money. Obviously, Liverpool are offering the history of the club, a big project, the possibility to play in the Premier League, but also in terms of financials, in terms of salary, Liverpool's proposal is way better. So they are waiting for the final decision, the final answer from Martin Zubamendi. But Liverpool are still working on this deal. I think this is going to be an important story for the next days. I'm hoping it's only for the next 24 hours, to be honest, because I would like to get this thing done.
Did somebody not say last night that we put a deadline on this?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We did put a deadline by saying that we wanted an answer by the weekend, by Monday at least.
Deadlines can be moved.
Yeah, deadlines can definitely be pushed back. It depends,
They usually are, aren't they?
Especially on this now.
Like this.
Yeah. Hyler saying, imagine if Trent had 48 hours to decide if he wanted to stay or go. Same with Zubamendi, as he has been there since he was 12. And I get that is a weighing. Obviously, it's why he probably was very, very certain to turn down offers to move to the Bundesliga, whether he was certain to turn down offers to move to London. I mean, quite often we see a lot of players out there when given the chance to move on to London, they take it because that's the big city in England. That's you have it's a bustling metropolitan area, so they get the some of the confines of the restaurants and the nightclubs and the likes. So they choose that. But Liverpool is certainly a destination, considering its history. It's a destination considering the foundation that we built. And
They've got a Nando's too, I'm sure.
I'm sure they do. Somewhere, somehow, they probably do. Definitely so.
I know it's not Spanish.
City's got like every type of bloody restaurant in it, hasn't it? Like from every country, you can get.
It's more about the families. It's more about the families and the girlfriends.
Is he with children, Zubamendi?
Not sure, but it's more about that, where the people that are coming with them, that for them the lifestyle is, if it's the young single guy or whatever. But yeah,
Marion's not a fan of London, by the way. I can see that.
Well, that's the thing. You see, it's London is a wonderful place to live if you've got wonderful place to live money. If you ain't got the money, it's a nasty place to live. So yeah, it's all about your setup.
Yeah.
So these guys do well. They can live a good life there. But yeah, I've lived there before, and it's a tough place to live for the average bloke. But I'm sure. Look, there's more than I don't think he's that kind of guy. I think he has that kind of. I don't know. I'm not in his head. I'm just guessing here. But just from what I've been hearing, that he may be looking at that kind of, just purely from a Liverpool Alonso thing, that was a club he wanted to go to because of that. So there won't be any other club that steps in that can, turn his head and go, oh, wow. I heard that it wasn't him who turned down Barca. It was a club. I don't know. But I think, it is completely right. If Trent was in this position, we'd be out there, lighting the torches for him.
Did Barca then, if they turned
down
Barca,
know. That's all I heard. Literally, that's all I was just going to
say that they must have come in with an offer, obviously not meeting.
Someone said, because I was saying he turned down Barca and he turned down Bayern, and someone commented back at me saying he didn't turn down Barca, Brian. The offer was rejected or something. That's what, and that was literally the thing. So. But
I can understand Barca coming in with a low bid offer type thing. I can understand that because they're not.
He wanted him. What's his name? Xavi wanted him. Xavi was like, he's the guy. You got to get him. He's the one. All this kind of stuff. So I really don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, if we do get Zubamendi, maybe he can convince Xavi to. Not that Xavi. Statement.
Oh, Xavi at Barca.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows the midfielder. I mean, one of the greatest midfielders of all time. So if he rates him, cha-ching, I'm happy with it. Yeah. I mean, if you don't take his opinion on what's a good midfielder, I mean, who else are you going to ask? Who else are you going to go to?
Yeah. What I was going to get into as well, obviously, the thumbnails was about Diaz, but I'm gonna hold off on raising, bring out some of the men of the moment for today, for the end of the show's discussion, because we're gonna be joined by possibly a couple additional guests here. But in this Las Palmas game, we saw Kelleher start. Another player that has been on again, off again, spoken about if we can get him a move to a team that will give him that starting presence. We also saw Connor Bradley play. We saw Konate play. Partnered with Nat Phillips today, which was very, very interesting. I know that was spoken on about how Nat Phillips got the start and why didn't Sepp Vandenberg get the start, or is that saying something about is there a deal already in place for Sepp or something that we're not trying to chance him picking up a knock or an injury or something? Robbo started in that second game. We also saw a midfield with Wataru Endo, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott. We saw Ben Doak get a start. We saw Darwin Nunez and Cody Hakpo get starts today in that second game. And we had a bench with Davies, Scanlon, Gordon, Nalo, Vandenberg, Morton, and Blair. good. It was a solid team to go back into that second game for. But why I brought up the lineup was because one of the players that did get a run was Kai Gordon. He did get featured in the game, and excuse me. And there has been a report that Kai Gordon is very close to going out on loan to a championship side. We've heard a couple of different players, some of these youth players out here, whether it was Ben Doak, whether it's been Kai Gordon, whether it's been obviously Kumas, who just got his move. Kai Gordon, is this the right move to do? Do you think, Brian? Do you think this is the right move? And then I'm going to ask Lee, just so you know, to be prepared. Is it a good move, or would you prefer him to stay with the club and kind of continue to develop a little bit closer, so that if we did need his services, he's more.
Where are they saying?
Give me 1 second. Hold on. Pull up who it is.
It's a new one every day, isn't it? With the kids, it's like, it's Doak yesterday. Before that, it was Bajcetic. Then it was Beck. Then it was Chambers. And Bobby Clark. It seems like every day it's another
Swansea.
one of our
Swansea
Dan's.
City.
Yeah, who we talking about? Kai Gordon, Swansea City. Yeah, look, they're
and it would be a season. It would be a season-long loan. It wouldn't be like a 6-month loan or something like that. It's like a season-long loan.
Yeah. Well, you could see the point is where you get to a graph, you get to a whatever you want to call it, a line on a graph in your career. You get to that 19, 18, 19, and you can see they're actually good enough to play. And it's right, okay, you're at the gate now, and you need to go through the gate. You can't step back and go and do another year in the unders. You can't step, like, you're ready for men's football. So where are you going to get it? You going to get it here, or are you going to get it on loan? That's what I look at it first and see, right, what way can we do it there? Is that something we could do? Because you can stunt a player's growth at the wrong time by sticking them back. Knowing full well, and this is what comes down to a manager, and a manager who, don't forget, needs to win games quickly, needs to get his feet under it, doesn't have time to be blooding kids and, this guy is going to be brilliant in 6 years, thanks Arnie Slot. No, his job is on the line tomorrow. So that's when you're going to see these kids drop back away. So, yeah, you pick the 4 or 5 who are too good to get dropped back into the reserves again, but not going to play. Not going to play more than maybe a couple of games, especially if we get knocked out early doors in a cup. Then you have to let those guys go on loan because their development demands it, basically. Otherwise, you're going to set them back 2 years. So that's where you take the best youth development coaches and the best youth development people to be able to make that particular call to know who needs to go, who can stay. And then you hope you get it right. That's that must be one of the most difficult jobs in football, I think, is the guy with the job of bringing the youngsters through and making it all work well that way, because it's such a minefield. So for any of them, if they ain't going to play, Kai Gordon for me is one of those guys that, give me a year playing men's football and see what happens. Same with the Doak, same with one or two of the others. Swansea is a good team, It's good. That's a good club.
Good
well,
team.
Sorry, I said good team. Sorry, I know they haven't been great, but it is a good club. It is a good club.
Right. I know what you mean. Like, it's a good club to develop under. I agree with that. How about for you, Lee? Are you all on board for seeing Kai Gordon go back out on loan to possibly Swansea City?
Yeah, because he's good card. Watched a lot of him on LFC TV over the last couple of seasons and that. In the youth side, and he's a good player, so it'll serve him well to. Don't want us to sell him, want us to loan him. He's a talent, want us to loan him. But can you remember when Klopp first took over, just how little scope he had for rotation and changing things? Slot's got a lot more now. Where he's come in, when Klopp come in, we didn't have much in reserve. I mean, if you remember the Champions League final, even that was like was that his third season, the Champions League final, and we had Woodburn on the bench. Lallana had only played about 3 games in 6 months or something like. He'd hardly played at all that season, and he had to come on as sub, didn't he? Totally unfit in that final versus Real. Solanke, a teenage Solanke, we had nothing in reserve, did we? When Jürgen first took over, it was it really
it was bare
like,
minimum. Bare minimum.
rotate, but Slot can rotate, can't he? Like he's got. Some of these youngsters could probably be counted on again, like in a pinch, the way they showed they could be last season. But most of them probably do need to go out on loan, the ones that we want them to keep. If there's ones that we don't want to keep, then, by all means, let them go and try and get a fee. But, yeah. Well,
we're going to have a loan show. I've been talking about it with the guys for a while. I want to go with a loan show this week, hopefully, because, most likely a lot of these players are going to move out on loan or possibly be sold, one of the other, or, who knows, maybe some of them don't really necessarily get the opportunity to find a proper team to be loaned to, and rather than just loan a player just to be loaned, and also the sheer fact that you're only allowed to loan a certain number of players, maybe they stay with the club. But there's a lot of different players, obviously. Clearly, I mentioned Bobby Clark and Ben Doak. I just mentioned Kai Gordon. But, we still have the likes of James McConnell. We still have Owen Beck. We still have Harvey Blair, who I like. I like Harvey Blair. I think there's a talented player there in Harvey Blair. We're obviously going to look for permanent destinations for Reese Williams. We're obviously going to look for a permanent destination for Nat Phillips, who got the start today.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Someone said earlier on, I can't remember who said it. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was. And they said, I think we're going to regret. Yeah, I don't want to misquote them. Yeah, they said,
just
I think we're going to end up.
I
know. I think we're going to end up regretting the sale of Carvalho to Brentford, just like the sale of Solanke. Is anybody regretting the sale of Solanke?
Where'd you hear that?
That was one.
I'm not saying
it was
you didn't.
comments.
I'm just saying that's a
no. It was someone said it. I can't remember who it was. If you're still in there, I'm not having a go, but I'm to me, it's like the Solanke is like it's showing how good the business we were doing under Ed. Again, I know people don't like here, but it's the fact that 5 years down the line we're still getting some money in the door off of this kid. Some guys, you just have to let them go. They're not good enough. What were we supposed to do? Wait 5 years for Solanke to finally have a good season?
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody out there of that opinion that it's like, yeah, great, yeah, he did. He had a great season last year in the Premier League, but to my opinion, that just showed how bad the Premier League is now for number 9s. The best two after Hala last year was Watkins and Solanke. It's hardly stellar, but anybody out there sitting there today looking at Spurs getting Solanke and going, we should have bloody kept him. Never should have sold that kid. I was taken aback by that one. I don't think we'll end up regretting the sale of Carvalho, even if he goes on to play really, really well, because like you said earlier on, there's a player there and this guy. We don't have bad players. Like, we don't have bad players. Like, all our players, our young players, are really, really
great,
good.
Great.
Do you know what I mean?
You just brought up too, by the way. I definitely
that's why
agree
they're
with
there.
that completely.
If they go off and they do well.
Earlier. Mm-hmm.
But no, sorry, just like if they go off and they do well, it won't be a slight on us. It's like, oh, look at you, he sold a good player. So of course he went off and did well. He's a bloody good player. We only signed bloody good players. How many 21-year-old Carvalho number 10 types? How good do you think you have to be to even get a shot at Liverpool? To even get a number on the back of your shirt, let alone a contract, or let alone become the main guy. Like, he's obviously going to go somewhere and probably be really good. But that just shows. I mean, yeah, we don't have any
Right.
dregs lying around. Gone are those days, man. Gone are those days.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I really got into my conversation, because I know heard people saying, oh, we need to bring in this player, we need all these I'm like, I think sometimes, because I'm not saying because of FIFA, solely because of FIFA, but it's almost like a FIFA mentality, that you have to have like world class players, not only as the starting 11, but you got to have like a backup 11 of world class players. And that's very unlikely when you're going to have that kind of team. And even if you do have that team, you got to give them minutes. Like, you got to figure out how to balance and keep everyone happy. And it's not easy, because with world class sometimes comes world class egos, and like, it's not
Ages.
it's not a delicate dance. It's a very delicate dance, but it's not an easy dance to perform. And that's why quite often when I was, when I was bigging up Endo coming to the team, it wasn't simply because, oh, I'm like, he's a guaranteed starter, he's the best six, da 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 da. No, I was thinking more so because he could become a squad player, or he could become a very talented, cult, like so many of our, cult heroes or club heroes, however you want to, club cult heroes, have come from the constraints of being a excellent squad player, a player that gets his minutes when they're given to him, doesn't rock the boat, and really contributes when given the opportunity. And if you have a good balance of that, to be able to you give your quote unquote world class players starts, or excuse me, rest periods, or to give your players moments to kind of recuperate. That's how you get through an entire season, and that's how I would construct and believe that his team needs to be constructed, rather than just trying to go out and get every big name out there that you think is like, some world-class beater. But Lee,
Klopp's
I'll
left
allow
us
for you to agree.
Klopp's left us, hasn't he, in a much better position than when he joined. The fact that he had to use Milner for so long at left back shows how poor the squad was when he joined. You know what I mean? He had to employ a midfielder at left back for an entire season, and he was our player of the season at left back as well, Milner. But he's left us in a much better position than when he took over. Like, Slot's got more options, and
Way better.
you know what I mean? It's not as drastic an overhaul needed as when there was a drastic overhaul needed when Klopp came in. But now it's not so much. We just need tinkering with a little bit, like, and if we do that correctly, I think and I hope we're in for a good season.
Yeah,
I revised my need list just quickly. I have revised my need list because I was saying last night that Bastoni and Zubamendi does it for us.
Mm-hmm.
I have revised that slightly.
Let's hear it.
Well, I think it's still Zubamendi and Bastoni, right? But those aren't just like those are the players. Those are the positions, really. So let's, so it's like, it's not like Bastoni or nobody. It ain't. But it's a big name center half, not big name, but top quality. But I also think we need to bring in a right-sided forward. I think we need to bring in a right-sided forward that can score goals. I think if we could do that over the course of the season, I think that might just make the difference. I think we're going to need that. So we should be looking out for someone like that. The salary replacement, whatever. But if Doak isn't going to play, I think someone that could come in and get 10 or 12 goals for the league that can play in that position. Specialist, not, is he right? Is he left? No, a guy that's going to come in and go, okay, that's what he's doing. I think then I think we had have a serious chance of winning the league. But Zubamendi and Bastoni would do me. But I've come to the conclusion now that I think we need someone in that right-sided role.
Yeah, MK Toe, that could be our answer. I think we could have an answer already, considering that.
Maybe.
Yeah, he could be someone that creates an opportunity for himself. And again, like to answer also your point as well about earlier your statement about how is anyone really being like, are we going to regret this lanky thing? There's I can tell you 9 million reasons why we're not regretting this lanky move.
We're all good.
Yeah. And I could also tell you possibly with Fab, we not only got a windfall, but we'll collect another windfall if he becomes good and ends up moving on from that club. Will again be rewarded. So it reminds me when I hear some take like that, it kind of reminds me of that. Remember how I said I was on a Bayesian Reds show and I got someone on the panel started going on this rant about how they didn't like Klopp because of what he did with Sacco, and how like Sacco would have been the difference in us winning a title or something like that. And I'm just like, okay, that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Too much rum in the sun. Too much rum.
Yeah, that's some Stretch Armstrong style, like like the dial that you could just like stretch and turn or something. That is a take. But I'm gonna bring in Baz to the convo here. He's joined us as well. Big up, Baz. How are you doing?
Big up panel, big up chat. Thanks for having me. Part two. Let's go.
Part two. Let's go.
You feeling good?
All good, man. All good.
Good.
Good performance. Lovely day. Great show. Great guys in the chat. Panel's epic. What could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Wait and see.
Notice
how Give us a minute. Because we're about to talk about Lucho. So,
come on. Hey, I don't hate him. I don't know if you got your receipts from last year and the year before. I like him.
Good. I'm glad you're in the same boat as myself. Trust, you know how I do with the receipts. So I've got a couple receipts out there on some
VAT on those, aren't you?
Yeah, some content creators and some people in the chat. I definitely got some screenshots and some receipts to say. But all to say, I wanted to talk about Lucho. Lucho was and then we can also talk about some of the stars. Let's talk about some of the stars from today's preseason performance. As you know, the thumbnail for today was no end product. And behind that was Lucho. But I can honestly say that Lucho's 2 goals today were absolutely beauties.
Wow. Second one was a bit of a tap-in.
Well, okay. Tap-ins are Irishman's got his own Irishman's got his own sense of beauty, but guess what? I used to love all the tap-ins that Bobby would get, primarily because it means you're in the right position. It means that you're in the perfect spot to receive an easy goal. It doesn't have to be, some worldly. Just get it in the net as easy as possible.
It into the net is better than tapping, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
but for me, I used to love seeing the tap-ins by Bobby and the likes, because it meant that it's just that Bobby was just so smart with his positioning, and a lot of the sense of what with Lucho, if he can work at excelling or even enhancing his ability to be in the right position for those tap-ins, utilize his pace, utilize his creativity to get around the defender, to be in the spots and to have those tap-ins, that to me is a beauty. That's why I said it was a beauty. But his first goal, his other goal was an absolute worldly style.
Remind me never to double date with you.
Yeah, I got you.
She's beautiful, man. She's beautiful. different versions, different meanings of the word.
Hey, sometimes the personality matters too.
No
right?
love for Dom.
Anyway.
No love for Dom on the second. No, the first one. Yeah, come on. I mean,
what?
Yeah, that's what you want. That first one, in, out, bang. That's what you want to see him do. Beautiful goal. Yeah, definitely.
Great goal. Very. He went for the same corner as Diego. Different, obviously a very different approach to getting it into that corner. But
That's his spot, isn't it? I think that's his spot. He always goes left to the keeper. From what I can, he rarely goes the other. He's always looking for that. He's like the opposite of Mo. Mo was always trying to go into his left. Mo Diaz always trying to bend that one into the. You're right.
I thought that Trey Neone had a great goal too. We're talking about, I know, and again, just as Bernie's doing, please do, if you have questions for the panel or there's a comment that you really, really need or want to say, try to get off your chest so we can address it, put it in the chat. I star as many, I keep an eye on the chat. I star as many questions and the likes so that it's you in the chat are involved. Remember that always. You are a part of the discussion in this. This isn't just 4 guys or 4 people talking about, just having an individual conversation. You're a part of this conversation too. So definitely include your questions and your comments in the chat. So I'm going to start Bernie's, and we're going to be definitely bringing that up. But
if you haven't liked it, we won't answer your question. So yeah. You know what to do.
If I don't bring up the question, it's just because I didn't maybe see it. That's all. And if I don't see it, bring it up again. We don't. Bring it up again. So but yeah. Some great goals. What were your thoughts about Lucho's performance today? We'll go around. We'll go counterclockwise around the horn. We'll start with Lee. We'll go to Baz, and then we'll end with the Irishman, since he's all about double dates.
Before we start, everybody wish Rasta Crab a happy anniversary. 20 years. 20 years.
Big
Mr. and Mrs. Rasta Crab. 20 years. Happy anniversary.
Mr. Lover Man.
Mr.
He
Mr.
must be doing something right.
Big up.
100%, man. Rasta Crab, congratulations to you and your missus, man. 20 years. And
that's well
hopefully done. A lot more. Many, many more.
Many, many more to come. Yes, definitely. But Lee, what were your thoughts about Lucho's performance today?
Good. That's what you want to see from Lucho, irrepressible and effervescent when he gets the chance, and you could see like that he got a boost from his first goal, and then was a bit lively, and then sort of drifted out again a bit. But that's the Lucho we want to see, the dangerous Lucho. I don't really get what people's problem was with him. I don't think he's ever been that bad since he arrived, or unfulfilled or anything since he arrived. It was just the thing with his dad solely last season. I think since he's arrived, he's had a steady arc of getting better and better. Do you know what I mean? It was good that season when he first arrived, and Mane went in the middle when it was him, Salah and Mane towards the end of the 2022 quad attempt. That was a good problem when he first came in. But yeah, I like him. I like Lucho. Lucho. Me want Lucho.
Lucho. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Daz, what were your thoughts on Lucho today?
I thought it was absolutely disgrace. I'm joking. No, he no. Look, at the end of the day, look, he's shown that he can finish. He can finish. He was doing his normal things. You know what I mean? Taking on players. Working hard, trying to create chances. Technical player, one of the better technical players we have in our team. And look, he capped it off with 2 brilliant goals. 2 brilliant goals. And my thing with him has always been great player, but perhaps needs to probably do a little bit more in front of goal.
He can still get better.
But this is it. That's why I'm not going to rule him out, because I do actually rate him. There's other players in the team that I might not rate so highly compared to him. However, he done well today. Brilliant guy. Brilliant performance. The team done well. He worked hard for the team. Got his goals. So, that will shut maybe some other people who have got a problem with him. Played well.
I'm not sure he'll be as automatic a choice under Slot as he was under Klopp. Slot might be a bit more of a horses for courses type guy, and choose not to play him on the left all the time. But we just have to wait and see, won't we?
Mm-hmm. Brian?
Yeah, great game from great goal. Again, it is. I don't hate the guy, but I just don't think he's a 9 out of 10 superstar player. I just think he's good.
Mhm.
Basically, I don't think he's amazing, but that's just because I've been spoiled. I've been around so long that I've seen really good players, and to me, he's just in that kind of B category, not the A category. And it's always, to me, it's like, could we do better? Could we improve? And yeah, I think we could probably eventually get a better player. But yeah, while he's here, I think he does well. But it's all, to me, it's not about the end product. It's about a lack of end product. It's there. It's there for him. If he could if he could have a great season and just score 18, have a really good season. He has all the tricks and all the tools, but it just doesn't often quite come off for him enough. But look, he's there. He's there or thereabouts all the time. I am happy enough with him. But when you see what he can do, it's like, oh, okay, look, that's why you bring in the guy. That's why he's there. That's what he can do. So could you do if you could start doing that a bit more often in the Premier League, that'd be great. That's really all. You know, I think he is at the peak of his ability, really at the age he's at. I mean, he can learn more tactically, maybe that second goal that he scored, like you're talking about, you're correct. If he can learn to get into those little spots a bit more, doesn't have to be scoring worthy, doesn't have to be beating people. Two guys and bending in to get those extra eight. Like Raheem Sterling when he went to Man City, he ended up being on the end of these tapping it, and ended up scoring a ton of goals just doing that by getting in the right place at the right time. He doesn't have to go all. So yeah, that could be interesting. That could be something he could do. And next thing you know, he could have an extra 8 or 10 goals real easily. But
I'd like to see him
that's where I
take
see
the
it.
ball back to the line on
But
his left foot more,
I,
so it's,
I'd like to see him just quickly. I'd like to see him in a couple of other positions. Just maybe slot doesn't suit that, but I'd like to see him out on the right, and I'd like to see him in the middle a bit,
Mhm.
yeah, a bit more,
Could it be then
because
you might have an answer to your earlier question then in that
maybe,
no.
yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
dude, maybe. I like I'm looking at because I don't know anything about slot yet.
Mhm. I
I'm
mean,
going to have
we
we're
have
going to have to watch
tons
this
of
a
left
while.
wingers, obviously, but
That's the whole problem. That's what I
yeah.
was talking about. We need somebody just there on the right. And you're saying to boss like, yeah, but I want someone to come in and go, oh, that guy, yeah. What would you say his main kind of vibe is? And I'd say, well, scoring goals.
Mhm.
That's not Dom's thing. Like maybe like a Bowen or someone like that. Not
Mhm.
Bowen, but
Mhm.
someone just like that a little bit that will give us an extra, just 10 or 12, an extra 10 or 12 goals from someone out there that could back us up a bit. An extra 8 or 10, hopefully, from someone like Diaz getting in more controlled positions and just tapping them in. Those goals add up and they go a long way. So we don't need but look, I've seen so little of the preseason. It's only really today's game, so it's hard to know until the real business starts and he's forced into an 11 and everyone is fit. Then you go, okay, that's who you really trust. Because I think he has a question between Diaz and Gakpo. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I think there's a
yeah,
question
I
between
think we
Diaz and
should
Gakpo.
talk about that. Who we
About
think
Cody?
will get
About Cody, you
off
said?
on the left more often than not.
Yeah,
But,
Diaz and
position
Gakpo. I think
plays
that's a
well a
question.
lot, isn't it? The left. It was the position he was playing for Wolves before he joined us.
Or
So
even and you're even talking about maybe moving Diego back to left wing, as you're saying? Lee?
well, yeah, I mean, it's not like we've ever moved
Well,
him
no,
well.
the question.
He plays up front sometimes as the 9, but a lot of the time he plays up from the left wing, doesn't he?
Right.
No,
I
what the
think
question I was
I
going
think
to ask
okay,
was,
clarify your question. Okay.
is it Gakpo or Diaz on the left, basically? Because I don't think.
I think they both bring two distinctly different skill sets to the left wing in that I don't look at Cody and say, oh, he's going to use his creativity and pace to get around players. But I also think that Cody has an innate ability to, if he's able to get some space for a shot. I think that Cody has a better ability of scoring
He's a
than
more natural goal scorer,
Can I
without a
yeah,
can
a
I
doubt.
go
little bit
in
more
this
natural
one?
goal scorer.
Can I go in this
Yeah,
one as well? I
Yeah,
think look, you're right, 12 man. They're both different players. Yeah, they both might occupy that role on the left.
Mhm.
Yeah, Diaz, we know, we're talking about like, look, he doesn't finish goal, he doesn't finish his chances, yeah? Or his goals are a little bit lower than perhaps his performance, whatever. But obviously, Cody Gakpo showed this, in the Euros what he can do from the left. He's a better finisher for sure, and I don't think it's wrong or bad to have them both in a team. Like I've always been that kind of guy that would say like, yo, we play for whoever we're playing next. We need to have the players that can unlock or play for. I guess I think we can't always start with Diaz, or Gakpo. It's kind of like we can interchange them for what we need for the next game. And someone like Diaz, I do think he works. He does put a shift in for me. Gakpo, he's been
He was
not
the most
used.
reliable. Diaz was the most reliable player in the sense of availability
He's
for
had
us
issues.
last year.
He doesn't get injured.
For all our forwards.
He's had issues, like,
He
in
doesn't get
terms
injured,
of like personally, like obviously with his dad and stuff like that. He's traveling to Colombia when he's playing in his internationals and stuff like that. That he's a human being, and I know they're on a lot of wages, so you can argue that as well. But the fact is, all right, I think he's decent. And Gakpo's decent as well. And like Klopp said, he hasn't been managed well. He hasn't been managed well. He's been playing as a 9. He's been playing in midfield. He's been playing, on the left. He hasn't been managed. And when you see him settled, you'd see like a Gakpo there as well. And, we've got options and we need options. That's the most important thing. You know what I mean? We definitely need options. And I think having these two, they both have different skill sets. And, where Diaz doesn't finish, perhaps like, someone like Cody Gakpo is a better finisher. So, we can interchange, and yeah.
It probably doesn't give you that work rate on the left. I think Gakpo showed that if you play him in that position, that's how you get the best out of Cody Gakpo, is by playing him in that left forward area. Now, obviously, Arne Slot would know that, but there's no way you get the same defensive work and hard running that Diaz gives you in that position. But there's no doubt. 12 said Diaz or Gakpo is without doubt much more natural finisher.
Yeah,
he is such a good striker of a ball. He is lethal. So, do you want to get the best out of him? Play him in that position and play him every week. That's kind of the question I was getting at, because, and you were getting at it, 12 man. He got played in the 8. He got played in the 10. He got played in the 9. He got played yada yada yada, all over the place. Or sorry, Baz, you were saying that. And that's no good for him. So if you want to see the best of him, you play him in that position. So if Diaz plays there, what do we do? Like, what are we going to do? We got to, X or get off the pot here on one of those guys. And
I think also what we're seeing right now too, especially with preseason, none of these teams are sitting back in a low block, or none of these teams are sitting back and just shutting all the doors and parking the bus and the likes. But
nice.
We will see that the season with some of the teams we face against, whether at Anfield or
Ipswich to be set up fairly tight, like on the opening day. I mean, I'd expect that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I expect them to do their best to try to counter, do their best to try to not concede.
Have the ball in play as little as possible, faffing around, pretending to be injured. You just know it's going to happen, don't you? On the first day, rolling around, pretending to be injured for ages, then getting up and running off. All that's going to go on, isn't it?
Let me bring up some of these questions. I promised to do that, so let me bring up some of these questions from the chat here. And I'll bring up first just a statement from Rasta Crab, since it was related to what we just spoke on, and that is that Gordon would do something in particular for us, but Diaz won't. And I understand. I'm not saying that Gordon isn't a talented player, but there is a lot of love for Gordon in some sectors of our fan base, and that's very interesting.
Hang
that
Do you
on,
know
Gordon.
he's a
Gordon would
pacey
bust
player.
his guts for a Diaz won't. Is that what he's saying?
I mean, like, if you don't think that Diaz, if you
I
don't
think
think that Diaz
maybe what Crab. Sorry, but maybe
gives
Crab
us
is saying it
effort,
because he's a Liverpool. He's an ex-Liverpool guy. He's from the Liverpool Academy and he's a Liverpool fan. Maybe if he means that. But I mean, yeah, he definitely would do that because of that. But I think Diaz is probably like of all the players who aren't Liverpool to say that they wouldn't bust the gut. I think Diaz is probably one of the worst examples. Like he of all the things that like I'll
He's all
ever
action, mate.
criticize, he works his arse off. I mean, the one thing you can never criticize him for is work rate. And putting a shift in even when he's not having a good game, like he will do it. So I think of all the things I could criticize Diaz for, not putting the work rate in. But if what you mean by that is that like Anthony Gordon came through the academy, he's a Scouser, he's a Liverpool fan, and he'd had that extra bit of whatever, then of course. But I don't know. I just think it's interesting. In my lifetime since Lee Bowyer, I've never seen a more negative reaction to a potential transfer than this Anthony Gordon one. It's like because usually Liverpool fans are like, "Oh yeah, no, cool. If we want the guy, let's go get him." Because normally it was like a lot of beggars can't be choosers stuff in the 90s. But this is one of those ones where I think like 90% was immediately just this like boo, just instant negativity, which I thought was funny. I thought it was weird. I haven't seen that in a long time. So I don't think that Gordon thing is getting done.
I think with Gordon, like personally, look, he I'm looking at what Rasta's saying here that he does things simply, yeah, for sure he does do things simply, but he's pacey, he'll get up and down for sure. The issue that I have with him is he does drop down a lot easily. He does look for fouls and stuff. That could be a good thing, but the thing is, all right, football is also about entertainment. I'm not saying he's not entertaining, but Diaz gets you on your feet. You look at McManaman back in the day. McManaman was a dribble merchant, but he'd score goals, but there'd be he'd waste quite a lot of sitters, and but people loved him. I don't know what the issue is with Diaz here. Yes, he is a bit techie, but you want a bit of sauce. You want a bit of sauce for the team. You know what I mean? But when I look at Gordon, look, he's gone away. You know what I mean? He failed at Liverpool. As a youngster. All right, he's gone to Everton. He made his name. Went to Newcastle. Obviously, 75 potentially, £1 million later. Wanting to come to Liverpool and stuff like that. I don't think we need him. I think right now we need to prioritize what we need. We're okay on the left right about now. We need to be looking at DM centre backs or a left back or even potentially a replacement for maybe if Nunes doesn't cook it this season or Salah if he decides to leave. We kind of need that money, because we don't throw away money, yeah. So I don't know if you could probably put him in that category. Could it be throwing away 75 million?
Well, the last scout forward we bought was Ricky Lambert. Like, I'll say no more.
Right. There you go.
Well, speaking of the left side, YouTube name asks, do you think Diaz will start ahead of Hackbo now in this upcoming game? We'll go real quickly, just one word type answer. Do you think Diaz will start ahead of Hackbo? Does Diaz start or does Hackbo start? We'll start with Brian and then go to Baz and then go Lee.
Well, that was the question that I was asking the lads, what the thing was. So, but I just think, like the Simcast thing, because of the way these games, it looks like it's going to be Diaz who will start. If I was putting money on it, like I was saying earlier on, we could pick the 11. He'd be the one that I would put in on the left. Yeah.
Baz?
So very quickly, I would say Diaz will start, but I think there'll be a lot more rotation between the two of them because of how Gakpo is done in Euro.
Lee?
I think Diaz will start. I think he'll go for Diaz's pace initially in that game. It's Diaz's pace that I like because Mo's not as fast as he once was. Nunes is fast, Gakpo's not so fast, and Jota's not that fast. But that's not their game, really, is it? Like Gakpo's fast enough. He's not slow, but Diaz is a bit more
Right.
pacey. He
Yeah.
Puts the wind up
in related terms. Yeah, we get it. We get it. Yeah.
It's always good to have pace.
Another question from the Mighty Reds out here is from Bernie. And she asks, can she raise a question? Well, of course, you can always raise a question. And she asks, watching Mo get frustrated on the right and give more assists, sometimes more than score himself, would you try him centrally again? We'll begin with Lee, then we'll go Baz, and then we'll end with Irishman.
No, I'm not a fan of Mo centrally. That's his position, the right wing for me. I'm not a fan of him centrally, like.
Okay. How about for you, Baz?
What, Salah in the middle?
Yeah.
No chance.
He did play. There was a couple of opportunities. He played in the middle for the Real Betis game. He played in the middle a little bit. And I don't think he played in the middle for the Manchester United game. And I know he didn't play on the middle for Arsenal, but he did get an opportunity to kind of shift into the middle for Real Betis. I remember that though distinctly. And it could have been just because we didn't have a striker really at the time. But
yeah, no, personally, not for me. I think we need to give Jota Nunes that opportunity.
Get him on the right wing.
Yeah, and keep him on the right wing. He's been good there.
Okay. Irishman, what do you?
Yeah, 100% what the lads are saying. Yeah, any kind of version of that where he moves into the middle might be as a second striker, but I think it would be when he drops, to a Saudi league or something like that. I don't think that would be the plan, but he does. Yeah, Mo does get frustrated. He does try things. He tries very difficult things sometimes. He runs into difficult scenarios, and it's always that very, very difficult final ball that he's trying to pull off, be it a finish or be it a little chipped assist or something like that. So when they don't come off, it's sort of because it's been pass, move, and you've gotten right into the very end of it. It's just about to be finished, and it doesn't quite work. That's when you see him getting frustrated. So that's natural, I think, but I don't think he has a problem where he's playing. I don't think he'd want to be a number 9. I don't think he has the real skills for it. So yeah, leave him where he is. But I think he is getting a bit older. Like someone said earlier, he's getting a bit slower. I wouldn't mind being as quick as him still, but it isn't going to be 32 goals a season Mo anymore, is it? I mean, he's got to probably be more of a team player now, and trying to be more creative means getting frustrated. But he smiles again. That's Mo. He gets frustrated, but 2 seconds later he's smiling, he's laughing, he's going again. That's the most important thing.
Especially once he gets a goal. He gets a goal, he's happy, and he won't be asked where he's playing as long as
exactly. He does. You're bang on. He does. As soon as he's scored, he tends to get a little bit more chilled because he's just so desperate to score and do well, and
that's his thing, isn't it? Scoring goals.
Yes, certainly is. I put an answer to your question in the chat, Rasta. Rasta was asking about a fit Robbo or a fit Costas. We already handled that question earlier and had an answer even from the chat as well as to who they prefer in that role. Now, hypothetically, the deal gets done with Zubimendi. Does Zubimendi start immediately? Or do you give him a bench role for the first game and then get him into a proper training, a couple proper training sessions, and then implement him into the starting lineup going in that second game for you? I'll go.
Yeah, I
I'll
couldn't
go.
see him starting.
I'll go Lee. Okay, wait, hold on 1 second. I'll
You
go
go
Lee.
Lever.
I know. I was gonna go Brian, but it's all good. I'll go Lee, Vaz, and then I'll go. to you, Brian. Since
Just
Lee was
quickly,
on-
hypothetically, we sign him tomorrow. Is it like
okay,
first thing?
you can start. Go
Is
ahead.
that what you said?
Yes.
No, I'm just going to what is hypothetically.
Oh yes,
signed
hypothetically
tomorrow,
we sign. Hypothetically, the deal comes through on Monday.
Okay,
And,
cool.
yeah, and and maybe he gets one. He's still got to come in for the medical and and do all that stuff. So yeah, it might happen. It might not give him a good run of training sessions to get into the flow of what we want to do. So I'm saying, do you start him regardless if we sign him on Monday, or do you start, preserve him to get a good training session, implement him into the club, or allow for the players that are playing well? Because I mean, we have seen some good performances from our midfield. Just allow for those players that have already gotten used to the system and then get him involved. Lee, you can give us your answer, and then we'll go Baz, and then we'll go to Brian. And you can give your answer also in the chat too, please.
No, I'd not expect him to play the first game if we only buy him a couple of days before the first game. Actually, arrives. No, I think he'd be on the bench for a few weeks, and make a couple of sub appearances. Couldn't see him coming straight into the side, but then again, he might. Don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Not with a couple of days turnaround to get ready to kick the season off. No, not in a couple of days. Don't think so.
Okay. Baz, what are you doing with the young man if we do get him through the door?
Mate, Liverpool would sign him and they'll start him off the bench. Probably give him an Anfield debut. Being that big signing kind of thing. Personally, bro, you're coming to Liverpool to play games. Get going. You know what I mean? Get to it. But yeah, I think they probably will ease him in.
Okay. So he does. So you're saying he doesn't start. He gets eased into as he comes in as like a 60-minute sub or something like that for the first.
What Lee just said there is true, because they did that with Fabinho, didn't they? They eased him in and stuff like that. Klopp is like that for real.
For months.
Yeah,
literally months before Fabinho played.
Yeah,
months.
Yeah, for real.
There was stories about him going to PSG on loan. That's how long it took. I remember. Nobody remembers that. I keep bringing that up. There was stories about Fabinho going back to PSG on loan in the December window, and they were coming out around October, November, because that's how little he played for Liverpool. Yeah, Klopp took forever to get him into the team.
Mm-hmm. My sense is that slot style of football would be so alien to Zubimendi, and he could come in quicker than what Fabinho did, because it did take until around Christmas before Fabinho was starting regularly after we bought him.
I thought that was a Klopp problem. I thought that was not a Klopp problem, but I thought that was one of the drawbacks, of the Klopp thing, because it was the same with Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson didn't get in until Moreno got injured, even though he got injured in that whatever game was. But anyway, Robbo gets in like 3 months down the line. Again, I'm paraphrasing. But that to me was a bit of a drawback with Klopp. I think Zubimendi is the kind of guy where a slot will be like, yeah, you know what I need you to do. Like tomorrow would be really borderline. Tomorrow I would see him getting minutes against Ipswich. Any later than sort of Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm with Baz at this stage. I'm thinking if we sign the guy, the ideal scenario is Anfield debut.
Okay.
But if we were to get him, if we got him tomorrow and he was in the building, he was fit. Tuesday meets everybody. Wednesday gets a run around. Thursday bit of training. Friday a little bit more training. So then you could see him on the bench. Yeah, definitely at that stage. I mean, he's a footballer. The grass is green, the ball is round.
Mm-hmm.
So give him a few minutes. But yeah, ideally at this stage, it's looking like an Anfield. Well, I'm saying it's looking like we don't even have the guy. you know.
Right.
But I think at this stage, it's looking more like an Anfield debut, if anything. But I think then once he's in, maybe more to your question,
Mhm.
once he's in, he's in. It won't be a Fabinho job. It won't be 3-4 months because he needs to get used to the Klopp way of
Right,
doing
right,
things.
right.
This kind of shit, like.
Yeah,
I
because
think
Fabinho
he's
didn't
in.
really didn't hit, wasn't like a duck to water really.
No, seriously, you can look him up if you Google Fabinho to PSG on loan. The story was new Liverpool signing Fabinho could be going to PSG on loan because, as you can see, this is how the papers work. He hasn't fucking played for Liverpool after they paid like 40 million quid for him. He hasn't played. What people didn't, you know, give it was that well, he's taking time to learn the system. And then guess what? He got in the team and didn't leave the team for what, like 5 years?
Mhm.
As soon as
Thing
he was
was,
in, that was it.
Klopp was giving updates when he wasn't in the team. Klopp was saying, "No, I am going to start him." Like, but when I'm
Yeah.
ready to, and when he's ready to,
Yeah.
it's not like Klopp didn't come out and say that he did.
It looks like the chat is with you guys on your answers, with basically easing him into the lineup rather than just here's one of our star players, throw him into the lineup fresh. Um, you know, very it's very similar to like we we Thiago started his first game, right? Didn't Thiago start his first game when we brought him in? I think so, right? Did he
Not
start?
entirely sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about that one.
I'd have to double check on that, but
What?
yeah, I remember Thiago had an
What,
incredible
Thiago?
game, incredible first game. He broke like a record, for like passes completed or something like that. But I know I was just wondering if that was the case.
I mean, I reckon he's the kind of guy. Like, I think he gets into the team 2 or 3 games after he signs, not 2 or 3 months. You know,
Right,
he'll be
just
in.
like you
He'll
said,
be
not a
a cog
Fabinho.
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
definitely a quick
saying within a
cog.
month, like he'd be ready. I'm saying within a month he'd be ready, run through balls. I'm like, so that's like, well, the first couple of weeks there isn't any cup games. The first couple of weeks, is there? So you're looking at like 1, 2, 3 games, and then you're 3 weeks in. So 3 weeks to a month should be enough for him to acclimatise and get to know his teammates on the pitch.
Yeah.
Thiago came off the bench against Chelsea, didn't he?
say it one
And
more
he
time.
made,
Yeah, because his debut was against Everton, his full debut, and he got axed off the pitch by
so he
Oh
Richarlison.
yeah.
he
Same
started
game
off the bench.
defending.
Yeah, against Chelsea, he started off the bench, and he had something like some incredible passing statistics that
Yeah,
Klopp
that's
man
right.
be proud of in like a first half, and then we were going crazy about it. I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering. Yeah, because I mean, like, obviously, this is a different coach, so he might have a different,
Hopefully.
philosophy as to what to do with like a new signing, a new level, that kind of level, new signing.
Yeah, you don't want. We're not going to down the Guardiola route of let's bring in Jack Grealish for 100 million quid and he'll be good next season. No, we can't be doing that kind of thing.
Do you
And
know?
I'm not comparing. And also, real quick, let me hop in here and say I'm not comparing Thiago to Zubimendi. I'm just saying that Thiago was a new acquisition, a talent, very highly acclaimed acquisition. I was just wondering, from memory, can anyone remember if it was the very first game he got in, or was it, was it a little bit of a difference?
I just wanted to quickly throw something in here. I know it's just. Do you think that we're basing a lot of this as well on that the difference between Klopp and Slot, yeah, like how they would bring in players and stuff like that. I've already got this impression that Slot is another Benitez. Tactically, he's good and he's cold. He's cold, like if you ain't performing, you ain't staying. Not like Jurgen Klopp, where he'd give his boys, his trusted boys, opportunity. I think this guy is ruthless. That's probably the better word. He's ruthless with things. So I think someone like a Zubimendi, I would imagine this deal gets done, if it does happen, maybe midweek, maybe Thursday at the latest, in terms of, like, the parading and all that kind of stuff. Then they'll come out and say, he's only been there 1 or 2 days or something like that. They won't start him. He'll probably be in the stands watching it or something like that, against Ipswich. And the next game is Brentford. I think you see maybe something at Brentford, maybe a substitute appearance, and then the following week you'll get him starting. That's what I can see happening.
Okay.
Isn't it Man United after Brentford? Imagine if he made his debut.
Oh yeah. That'd be special. That'd be special. Refrelight says he agrees with you, Baz. Slot has no favorites. It's going to be interesting who makes the cut. Rasta Crab's question here is: can we get well, I think he meant Mbomo, right?
Mbuemo.
Mbuemo. For Mo as a backup. I don't think he plays on the right, to be honest with you.
He can. He plays all across wide. He's played on the right a lot and up front for them. But surely, Rasta, if we were interested in doing that, we would have done it with the Carvalho thing. We would have tried to make something, I mean, if we were interested in him and we just sold him Carvalho, I reckon that might have happened then. Yeah, I don't know. Decent player, yeah. Very good player.
Yeah,
but
I guess I'm just used to seeing. I was used to seeing him at the striker position for Brentford. I guess with the absence of Tony.
Yeah, he played on the right before.
He did play on the right. You're correct. Yeah, that's not correct.
But for his country, he plays. he can play all across. That's the thing about him. He can play left, middle, right. That's the thing about him. But he's. Like I say, if we were interested in a guy like him, we've just sold him Carvalho. Surely, we would have been more like, right, okay, here's 10 million and Carvalho. Maybe that. But good player, but maybe not just quite the level. Yeah, and Ross is saying pace sells me. This is the thing I want to say to Ross earlier. I could see Anthony Gordon all day long in a prime Klopp team. Pace on the break, running in a goal. I could totally see a Gordon in a team like that, but I think that's why I didn't get it. But anyway, I don't see him in a different style of team. But yeah, you imagine prime Klopp. That's the perfect team for a counter-attacking Gordon.
I have 2 questions here real quick. One I'll just handle on my own, I believe. And then the second one I'll open up to the panel. The question from Trap Joe was, what has happened to Kubo? He's still at Real Sociedad. If you're talking about what has happened with the strong links or the pursuit of him, since Brian was just talking about trying to bring in someone for that right wing or that right-sided forward position. He doesn't have the same ties, obviously, to the Basque region as Zubamendi does. But I don't know if we were to take both Zubamendi and Kubo, that would certainly be a loss in product for Real Sociedad.
And Mourinho is going to Arsenal as well.
Who was?
Yeah, Marino.
And Mourinho as well.
And Marino. Yeah,
on top
absolutely.
Of those, it's going to be. They would never do that.
Absolutely.
And clubs are trying to take your man Lenormand, who started for Spain when they won the Euros. That's what their president was saying. They were saying they're trying to take all our Euro stars. They're trying to take Lenormand. They're trying to Marino and Zubamendi. Even though Marino and Zubamendi were backups in that squad, but Lenormand started. So there's no way they're just going to. That's the other thing people aren't bringing up. Clubs can make one big sale and then that's it. They don't have to sell anyone else. They're not going to be bullied into just giving up all their best players. Oh, okay, a big club has come in. Well, off you go. I mean, you can see why they're digging their heels in. This happens a lot. This is the timing, That they're not.
Yeah.
If what all the big clubs wanted happened, then their team would be gutted this year, completely gutted, and they don't want that to happen.
There's also a question here for the panel. Did any players stand out to you guys in the second match in a positive sense?
Didn't see it.
Sense? Yeah,
Didn't
I don't
see
think.
it. Sorry, didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything
You didn't get
either.
a chance to see it.
Yeah.
Lee, did you get a
Doesn't look
chance?
like we missed a lot.
No, not the second game. No, the first one, yes, but I didn't see anything in the second one. I got the commentary, got the commentary on Redman's stream, but I didn't see it.
Yeah. Okay. I know people were kind of very critical of Nunez. I thought Cujo had a good game. I did get to see the game. I was watching it but I was also on Quasi's show, and like so, some of it I ended up having to kind of watch peripherally. But I thought the back line looked good. I thought that I'm glad to see that Nat didn't get too hurt, I guess you could say, because Nat had a Nat using his head to go through brick walls. Basically, I swear he thinks he's the Juggernaut or something. When it comes to sometimes using his noggin, he has some a little bit of a cut. He got a cut from a knock in the game. But I'm sure they stand out. Not necessarily anyone really stand out. I didn't see anything really super stand out ish. Maybe Ben Doak a little bit. Maybe Ben Doak, but that's about it. Everyone had a pretty solid game. Nunez, and probably you're going to hear a lot about Nunez because out of all the names, I remember people kind of languishing on. It was Nunez, and there were only in this game they didn't bring in a lot of subs. Kai Gordon didn't get a sub in. Harvey Davies didn't get a sub in. Obviously, we spoke on Vandenberg not getting into this game, sitting on the bench the entire time.
That was a shock. That was a shock that he didn't get a go like Vandenberg. Thought he'd play with Canate.
But that would be my answer for that. What else? There was another thing. There's another statement here. Hold on, let me find it. Oh yeah, Rasta. The Streets was saying that he would have taken Neto. I don't know if I would have taken Neto for the deal that Neto got. Maybe I'm alone on that, but I rate Pedro Neto. I think he's a quality player. I just don't think that I would have signed Neto for the deal that he got signed for. Are you with me on that?
What was the deal?
Okay, I'll pull up.
It was 54. I know it was about 52 to 54 million that Chelsea had signed him, but what are we talking? Big wages and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll get you the Pedro Neto contract.
Either way, I mean, as you're doing that, I'll just quickly add something on that. To be honest with you, he's a great player for sure, yeah. But look, he's injured almost like 80% of the season. I don't want to be seeing someone that brings in so much of that. Like it'll be like a Thiago. It'll be like a Thiago, someone that's got great, that's a great player, but you're going to see him on a bench all the time. He's going to do your nut in, and that 50-odd million and at least 100,000 a week.
I don't understand why and how they're getting away with this crap. Yeah, I'm listening. I'm sorry, guys. I am listening to you.
Yeah, no, that's all I wanted to add.
He did. Chelsea. I'll tell you the specifics on his deal. It was for 54 million pounds was the transfer. I just don't think that, and Crab, this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. Pedro Neto is a talent, but considering his injury record, there is absolutely no way I'm signing Pedro Neto to a 7-year deal.
They're throw contracts.
And that's what Chelsea have just done. He just got Chelsea has signed Pedro Neto from Wolverhampton on a 7-year contract.
We would have to give him 4. We would have to give him 4. We would have to give him, like, if you're talking about a player, now nobody can see the future. Okay, right now, he's fit. He's had his injury. He's not injury prone. He's had his injuries. Different story, right? That's the way you can look at it. Or you can look at it, he's unlucky. Maybe he doesn't get injured again. Maybe he's had all this bad luck. But everybody I've
Maybe he
talked to,
doesn't.
everybody
And
says it.
you know,
As
I'm
a
not
player,
wishing
you
injury
take
on
them.
him at all. No.
Yeah. But everybody is saying it as a player.
Right.
Everybody takes him all day long. Everybody takes him as a player. But they're all injuries, injuries, injuries. If we had signed him, I think we might be looking a bit more deeply into it and say, is he this? Is he that? I don't know. Was he just unlucky? Was it just, oh, that wasn't an injury? Someone tackled him. You know? So on a purely footballing level, I would love to take him because I've seen him up close. I've seen what he can do to us. And
no, yeah, absolutely.
They've gone and taken the risk. They went and took the risk. Fair play to them. They went and took the risk. But I really don't know. Look,
I mean, like,
we don't know.
Is it a risk when you have probably like 12 different forwards? Is it a risk when you have like 50 players on the roster?
They took the risk on him staying fit. They took the risk on him staying fit. You know, like, but that's the thing.
They got 7 different players that can play his position.
We would have paid him more. We would have been paying them more than they are because they're paying these guys. This is one of the reasons they're getting around it because they're putting them on long contracts on, say, $100 grand a week, guaranteed for 7 years, right? Or $200 grand a week for 4 years. So even if you do get that ACL, you've got a 7-year deal. You know, you're guaranteed $100 grand a week. So that's how they're getting the money down. But they will probably in the next 8 to 10 days, 20 days, or 3 weeks, sell without people really even realizing it. Probably about 80 million quid's worth of players. 10 million here, 20 here, 15 there. That's what they have a whole raft of players lined up ready to go. But even if they did, they're still left with a huge squad. So it's a player I love. I love watching players like that. B2 players.
Brian.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Oh no, I'll offer to finish. I was going to just add to your statement about how many players. You realize that Chelsea spending this summer has passed £200 million. They've already surpassed £200 million.
Are you surprised? They spent £1 billion already. Like, it's going to be about 2 billion by next year or something like that. But you know what? It doesn't even matter because they're dead team. They're a wet team. You can buy all the talent you want. Yeah. Remember, people don't realize these guys are youngsters. A lot of these guys are 19, 20. They're only kids. And if you've got the wrong coaches, yeah, what are you teaching them? Calcedo, Lavia, these ballers, yeah, or these guys that got potential. When you're getting your manager consistently sacked every season, or their managers are getting sacked every season, how are you going to build a relationship? How are you going to build your career? You can't.
Every
You're just
6 months, Bas. Not even every season.
Yep.
Every 6 months. Not even every season.
Exactly. And these death row contracts, yeah, they're just literally they're selling their soul to the devil, bruvs. You know what I mean? It's like you're getting your money for sure. That's your security. But come on, I would rather these players that go for these years contracts. Yeah, I have no respect for them. I wouldn't even want them in my team, to be fair, because they're not thinking about their ambitions or what they are, what they can achieve, and they've got no ambitions. They just want to play just for money. And I know it's a business now; it's about money, earning, and the careers are like short, etc. But come on, you've got to have a bit of ambition as well, man. Can you really be smiling and laughing when you've only played like 10 games and you've won a Premier League or a Champions League or something? You ain't even contributed. Bun them, bro.
That's just absolutely
Chelsea have even what they've shown now with all these signings, like the lack of whatever you want to call it, stability. They're even what they've shown. And I hope Todd Bowley never clicks onto the fact that sacking the manager every year is a bad idea. I hope he continues to do it for the entirety of his stewardship of CFC. More power to your elbow, Todd. Keep it going, lad.
That is crazy. He's as Dugout Football Channel just said, Pedro Neto became the 35th Chelsea signing since Todd Bowley took over Chelsea. 35th. 35th. player. That's incredible.
I would have had it higher.
He's only been there,
I would have
half
had
an
it
hour,
higher.
and he's
I definitely would have had that higher. Pedro now with 35 Chelsea signings on top.
Is that it?
I would have had that higher. I would have had that higher, man.
I would have thought it would have been at least
That sounds
40,
low to me, Baz, too. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds low to you, yeah?
When you look at like
Well,
maybe
that football channel does his research. I know he does.
no. Doug
I
is
know
the
he
man.
does.
Doug is the man, and big up to you, Doug. I hope you and your family all
I
good.
wouldn't be surprised if he was missing a 1 at the front of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. No, but they do listen. That's a team. That's a club full of problems. They want those typical, them brats that you have, like someone would have like a brat of a child. Yeah, and big up to all the parents in here. Yeah, but it's like it's just a club that just wants. They just want, and they just get, and they're never happy. They're sacking. They ain't got no consistency, no nothing, no direction, no nothing. They're just spending money for the sake of it, and
has it been any different ever since the Roman era? I mean,
no. All right, they've hit some finals. I mean, like,
no, there's been a big difference. They used to win titles on the Roman era.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the thing. If they were winning the league, if they were doing all this madnesses and craziness, but they were winning titles, we'd be sitting here just having to suck it up. But they're doing all of this, and they're going down the league and down the league and down the league. Like, they're finishing outside of the European places, for God's sake. Like, if they were doing all this, we'd be like, it's crazy, but their fans can turn around and go, yeah, like they used to under Roman. Oh, you sacked a guy. He just won. You sacked a guy. It's like, yeah, guess what? But we win. We just won another league. We just won that. Now they're spending probably even more than they even did then. Well, not but just as much. But they're getting worse every season. They're actually getting worse. It's like, this is the bit that doesn't add up. I mean, like, look at this guy they brought in. This guy is, wow. This guy is a coach who was handed a Premier League team, a Premier League side in the Championship, with parachute payments, with all the money in the world, that literally a cakewalk. That's what he was handed. No doubt he's a good coach, right? He goes from Man City, he gets a Leicester job. Like, I mean, a good coach, a decent coach, walks the league with them. And now he gets given that gig because probably 4 other people turned him down. How is this a thing that anybody thinks is going to work? Crazy team, totally crazy team, and long may it last. Long may it last, man.
It's kind of what.
Amen.
It's kind of what they've brought upon themselves. I mean,
yeah, we'd love to see it. The most hateful club on the planet. Most hateful club on the planet.
Spoiled children. When it comes to
plastic, that club is.
Yeah, when it comes to their players, when it comes to their coaches. Everything's expendable. There's no real worth put into the foundations of what the heritage that they bring up. It's all expendable, and at least in my opinion. So they're getting what they asked for. They think that winning the transfer window is spending the most, and they every year that's their onset. So more power to them. Good luck. We're about to end this today's segment, but I wanted to make sure that I think I got all the questions and everything else. Oh, there was little point brought up by Marion and also by Dugout, the Dugout Football Channel. Marion says 7-year deals just ridiculous. The players I've seen over the years that for some reason never reached the full potential, too risky for her. And
takes the hunger away. Takes the hunger away. Just quickly on that, it takes the hunger away.
100%.
When you say to a player That's you now. You're sorted, mate. You're a millionaire. You're on 100 grand a week for 7 years. That I believe is 35 million pounds, right? Guaranteed, guaranteed, man. Even if you're absolutely shy, the hunger is, for those who need that to drive them, that's gone now. I mean, I'm not saying these guys on five, rolling contracts, but I mean, they've said it. These players have said it themselves. They've talked about it after. They said, as soon as I got that deal, I dropped off. I didn't have to prove myself. I didn't have to fight every day. So they're giving young players, like everyone's pointed out, young prospects. They're basically saying, "You've won the lottery, lads. You've just joined Chelsea." They pioneered it with Winston Bogart. If anyone remembers Winston Bogart,
Yeah.
40 grand a week, when 40 grand a week was probably about 200 grand a week.
Yeah.
Played 8 games, refused to rip up his contract, never played for Chelsea, and retired about a year after he finished because basically they made him a multimillionaire 10 times over. I mean, this is insane, and they still think it's going to work today.
The recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Total.
Yeah,
You
car
give
crash.
those, bring in the guy that's going to finish off your team. Go and spend the big money on him. The Drogba, the Aguero, the whoever it is. No. They got guys sitting there who could basically just be, they're going to be asked to paint fences and cut the grass eventually because there's nothing else for them to do, and they're on fucking 80 grand a week. There's only 11
I was just
places
trying to
on the
remember
pitch.
what her name was. I know most of us have seen Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, and it's kind of fitting that she wears blue as her outfit, but that reminds me of a lot of the different the Chelsea fans out
Who you
there.
got?
It's just, yeah.
Who?
Just-
Violet or Veruca Salt? Or I mean,
Oh, is it Veruca Salt? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Then is was the one to buy me that? It's the one that gets everything bought for her. Is it Veruca
yeah.
Salt?
Yeah,
Daddy,
Yeah.
I want that. Yeah, that's Veruca Salt. Yeah.
Yeah, Violet's the champion. That's my fault. Yeah, you're right. But yes, there was one other thing. Then I'll make sure that you guys get anything that you want to talk about real quick. I think that's all that actually. So one other question though, I think that was brought up. Oh, Trap Joe asked real quick.
Dara has a question. Dara has a question.
And Dara has a question too. Where was the question from? I just brought up Trap Joe's question. What was the other question you said?
Dara.
Oh, I know.
Do
you have a question that he had?
Yeah, it was the Swanky one. That was the one that I had forgotten.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Dara does have a question. I'll make sure to go back and bring it up. But answer this one, and I'll find it to bring it up. Do you think we'd see some players clashing with Slot this season if things go haywire?
I don't think you will. However, there might be one or two big cheeses or someone that might have a problem with it. But I think they'll do it professionally. You know what I mean? They'll probably just leave or want to leave. You won't see anything like like something crazy in training or anything like that. You'll just see, perhaps people being sold or, bids come in. They'll do things very quietly. Liverpool, everything is hush, hush, and just say, I was missing his family. It's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Okay. Dara asks, my question would be, does anyone regret selling Solanke? Once again, I do not regret selling Solanke one little bit, primarily because at the time, Solanke wasn't the guy and he just didn't do it for us. But again, what I did like about it is that he went on to develop himself very well with another team. I get that. But, we not only got some type of a windfall by selling him the first time, we're getting anytime you can I guess double dip in essence with profit or at least sales of a player, and that obviously means that he's developed to a level where you're going to get something back. That's a positive. I get that. Is he a needle mover? Would he have been such a needle mover for Liverpool? That would have meant that you would have had to have, waited for him to blossom into the player that he is. And so often players especially with this club, are not given that kind of window. This is my humble opinion, at least.
No, and he only became that player because he was the main man at Bournemouth. Like, if anybody has been watching Bournemouth, like Dominic Solanke, as someone who plays no longer, thank F, finally taking a year off this season after 12 years, no longer a fantasy football player, but the last 2 years, he is one of the most highly productive guys you can get because of his price, but mainly because of the fact that because he plays for Bournemouth, he is their main man. He plays 90 minutes every week. He takes everything. He's on everything. He's involved in everything. He plays all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason he's so good. If you turn up to, 11 aside every week and you don't play for 2 months, guess what? You're going to be shite. You go and you play every week. You're going to get better every week. He got to the reason he is now, the level he is now, because he played week in, week out, and was the main man. If we kept him at Liverpool, he never would have gotten near the pitch. So you wouldn't be looking at the same player. I mean, I just think...
Or even a Reed was in his way, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, come on. We've gotten... Again, nobody wants to hear this, but unfortunately, and I don't want to hear this, I hate this shit. I despise all this money crap, but the facts are now that you have to be buying and selling and making money where you can make it. And the fact that we bought this guy a long time ago and have brought in we got 20 from Bournemouth, now 9 from this. We've got nearly £30 million in transfer money coming in. Like, that to me is the one thing that, again, I hate talking about, but back in the 90s, our club was a joke commercially. We were a laughing stock. We couldn't run a piss up in a brewery. We could find players and that was about it. But commercially and all that, we were way behind. Unfortunately, now doing deals like this is the way you keep up and you be successful. And showing that we're doing that kind of stuff means that we have guys who are really, really good at doing that in the building. I wish it didn't need to be like that. And it could just be, whoever was the best team, the biggest club, yada, yada. But it counts now, it matters. And yeah, this is the best outcome for Solanke, is that we've recouped what we recouped. The idea that, would you go out now, Dara, and spend 60 million quid on this guy? Because that's what he's costing Tottenham. Would you go out tomorrow and buy him for that?
Yeah.
I don't think you would.
Yeah, very true. Very good point. His goal count is in the top 5, isn't it, in the Prem? For last year, Solanke was
season.
in. Was
18.
Was a part of the top.
Yeah, I think he got 18. I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was Haaland, Watkins,
I think he was
Dunk.
tied with Watkins, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah, and this is my whole point. We spoke about this, and it was no joke that the fact that Watkins and Solanke were the 2 best. We did kind of a show about it. There was Haaland, then there was Solanke and Watkins. Mm-hmm. The fact that they were the next best 2 strikers in the Premier League said a lot more about number 9s and the Premier League than it does about Watkins and Solanke. Yeah. Good players, yes. But, come on.
But, yeah, there's no way you're talking about them in the all-time greats or something along those lines, or that they're on target to be put into a lot of the annals of...
No one's talking about them in 20 years. In 20 years' time, nobody, apart from Villa or Bournemouth fans, do you remember? No.
Yeah. Well, that's going to end our show for today. But again, we will be on Zubimendi Watch for tomorrow. Hopefully we have an answer by tomorrow. I guess you could say the makeshift deadline that's been proposed for tomorrow for this player. is there anything you'd like to say to the people before we allow for them to enjoy their Sundays? Lee?
First, thanks for being here, everyone, and hopefully we'll have Zubimendi before too long, or too much time elapses.
Okay. Baz?
Echoing Lee, really. Thanks for rocking with us. Make sure you're smashing the like and supporting the other guys' channels. We're all at one as Liverpool fans. And make sure you're hitting the likes and big up.
Big up. Definitely. And Irishman, what would you like to say?
No, just thanks, and I think I'm comfortable enough to say see you all tomorrow night. At this stage, I think we'll see you all tomorrow night.
Yes, certainly so. Hopefully, you have some. Well, hopefully, you have some good news for us tomorrow. Regardless, it'll always be good news to see you guys in the chat. That's how I see it. That's the good news I'm looking forward to, is seeing you guys joining us tomorrow. So, hopefully, you'll bring us that news, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, or if you're watching us on the replay. I hope that you're enjoying your day all the same. But we will certainly see you soon. And as always, I like to end the segment the same way I like to begin it, and that is by saying, up the Reds, people, up the Reds. We will see you soon.